ridiculous thick smoke coming out of one of those buildings.
From every word I said, take my warning anyway. Safe is where I want you to stay.
All right, good morning, you absolute legends. Today, again, I'm just walking Hanny to work, but today I have to have a massive day at work. There is no time for coffee and stuff. I've got a conference for the next 3 days. Actually, I don't even think it's today. I think it might start tomorrow. I don't know what's going on.
Tell me a story of us so slow and low. Truth is weird.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, but I took my Bianchi, my broken Bianchi. It had a crack in the top tube from my crash that I had in April, and I dropped it off to Raoul in the first carbon vlog and said, mate, can you fix it up? Just to see what it looks like, see structurally how it turns out. Anyway, it's ready. So mate, the Bianchi's good to go?
Yeah, all good.
All right, so you sent it off to a graphics guy? And
yeah, so Steve Sun Graphics, he does all the like intricate painting for me.
Does
and yeah, he's a gun. So
okay.
you know, if you need, like, I mean, he does all custom painting. He's full-time bike painting business.
Is he?
So specialist.
All right, so the Bianchi is looking amazing. Like, it is true, I cannot see where the repair was on the top tube. Could I have kept riding that bike with that damage?
Well, you could have ridden it. It's hard to know how long you could have ridden that for. Like, basically the damage would grow over time. That's typically what happens, and then it would fail under load. So, and the load sort of happens. The high loads happen when you're going fast. So when you're sprinting or when you're descending fast, that's when the high loads are.
Yep.
So that's when you don't want it to fail.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to fail when you're just rolling down the street to the milk bar.
Yeah.
It's going to fail under high load. So.
Yeah. So one question I did have for you is, like, I'm thinking about keeping this bike for a trainer bike and riding it on the road. It's still perfectly safe to ride on the road. But could I sell this bike now? Yeah. And I suppose you just have to tell the person that this is the damage and this is... But I mean, you could, once it's been repaired. Yeah. And how does it affect the sale price?
Look, it might affect the sale price. Some people are a bit sort of weary of repairs. It's because they don't really understand how it works. But we get bikes all the time where we've done an assessment and then a repair on someone's bike, and then they've gone to sell it, and they've contacted us, and we've supplied them all the documentation from the repair. And we have a 5-year warranty on our repair, which is more than what the original frame is usually as well.
Yeah.
So when people start to understand the whole process and how we do things, then it's not a problem.
Yeah. So we did have a question, just slightly off topic from the Bianchi. We did have a question from one of the viewers on YouTube, and they asked about, in reference to the carbon wheels video, carbon wheels with aluminium sidewalls, right? Because for those that haven't seen the carbon wheels video, we know that there are some risks with carbon clinchers, that the rims overheating and the tyre or the tube popping and having a catastrophic failure. Do you think aluminium rims are acceptable with carbon wheels?
Okay, so there's a number of different rim designs with aluminium braking surface and carbon incorporated. So there's the type which is, it's a moulded, it's an extruded rim, and then the carbon is co-moulded to that extruded rim. There's another type which is an extruded rim and a carbon fairing, which is basically bonded onto that rim, and then there's the laminate type, sort of like the Shimano, where they have an extruded aluminium surface, and then they co-wrap the carbon onto that. So they all have different pros and cons. You know, whenever you're bonding, you can have some bond failures, you know, those sorts of things. You can get some corrosion between the aluminium and the carbon. You know, those things do happen. So out of all the ones we've seen, personally, I think the Shimano system works really, really well. I haven't seen any bonding failures with that. They seem to work really well. So others, you know, we have seen over a long period of time bonding failures, you know, so disbonds, those sorts of things.
So that's the aluminium extrusion.
Yep, and then it's got a carbon which has been moulded onto that aluminium extrusion. So these are actually pretty good. Like they're quite reliable. You don't sort of see many problems with those. You know, once they get really old, you can have a bonding failure at that interface, but they're normally pretty good. And
what's the other one you've got there?
So this one was this one's actually suffered heat damage, and it's a foam core with carbon skin and with an aluminium extrusion bonded onto it. But it was used in a crit, and it got that hot that the temperature, like the resin in the rim, basically exceeded its TG, and it all sort of warped and buckled and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's very thin aluminium, so the heat basically went straight into the composite material. So
it would have been a hot dog course or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It was a hot dog course. Yeah. So and so, you know, high speeds, high braking loads. In the bunch, you don't get as much cooling, you know, because unless you're at the front of the bunch, you know, where you've got good airflow. But in the bunch, that's why the bunch is so effective, because you don't have much airflow, air movement. That's why you go faster in a bunch, because you know of the drafting. So it also means less airflow around the brakes as well. So that can be an issue.
So I suppose the question I have is, in a nutshell, is would you recommend me going and buying these carbon wheels with the aluminium rims, or am I better off buying carbon clinchers, full carbon clinchers? What do you reckon?
I like particularly the Shimano rims.
Okay. So that's these here.
This one's a bit banged up, but you can tell how well the bond is because the carbon actually hasn't delaminated from the rim. So they're a really good all-purpose wheel.
And so that's a carbon rim with a...
Well, it's a carbon laminar, so it's an aluminium rim which has been reinforced with carbon to make it stiffer and lighter and stronger.
Right.
So basically it's a really light aluminium extrusion which has been reinforced with carbon.
Okay. And they're great?
I rate them, yeah. I think they're really good.
Okay. I suppose the next question is, what about brake pads? People, it's frustrating having to swap over brake pads from aluminium brake pads, carbon brake pads. What should people use? What should they do? What's the industry standard there when they're swapping between their race wheels?
Yeah, well, they're basically there isn't an industry standard. So there's all these different types of brake pads. A lot of the carbon rims now, they'll say your warranty is void unless you use their brake pads. So you've got to use their factory brake pads, which they've done the testing on. So if you use another brake pad, then you void the warranty. It's a real combination between brake pad material, rim material, braking style. There's all these variables. It's probably a little bit complicated to go into just in a little talk like this, but you know.
Well, we'll discuss this more on our Facebook Live, which we haven't scheduled in yet, but we're going to get Raoul, myself, Shane Miller, and Stephen Lane, and we're going to have a Facebook Live session where we can talk about all these things. It'll be within the next couple of weeks, hopefully. It's just trying to get us all together in the one room. We were just talking fees to repair the bike, and obviously I left the bike here. So Raoul stripped the bike, he repaired it, he sent it over to someone to fix it up and put the decals on and paint it, and then he's put the bike back together. So that alone, like you think about to strip a bike and put it back together, if you took it to a mechanic, it would be quite expensive. It'd be $300, probably more, right? So you could imagine we're not going to go into details on how much the repairs and stuff cost because Roll's running a business, but it's a few $100s, right, to do it. So you really have to work out, if you've got a damaged bike like this, is it worth it getting it repaired? You know, I like this Bianchi. It was a small problem on the top tube. It's now repaired and it's a brand new bike again. So for me, it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the value of the bike. You know, if you've got a $1,000 bike, it doesn't make sense to repair. You know, if a repair costs $600, $700, you think, well, I might as well get a new one and get all new running gear and whatever. But you know, it really depends on the bike, and it's a case by case, and each repair is going to be different depending on the complexity of it, and, you know, the graphics, the layup, all these sorts of things. So there's so many variables. And you know, people ask me all the time, oh, how much does it cost for this repair? And it's like, until I get the bike in here and I scan it and I know what the full extent of the damage is, I can't tell you. It's like, how long's a piece of string? I don't know.
So finally, I don't want these chats with Raoul to drag on, because we could talk all day. Seriously, we could talk all day. But you know, when I dropped the bike off originally, Raoul said to me that there was a manufacturing fault or a problem with the fork, and which I found quite alarming, right? Because forks, when you start having problems with forks, that's where real problems, you start landing on your face if things break. So it wasn't a major fault, but Raoul fixed it.
Yeah, so basically, you know, there was a small indication on the fork, which when I stripped the bike, it was evident. So, you know, which again, most people don't see that because they don't pull their bike apart and inspect those critical areas that often. So, but there was a bit of a delamination sort of right up near where the stem clamp is, and so we've repaired that, we've stabilised that, and you know, that's all good to go. The compression plug that was fitted in the bike was not a good one. There's all these different sorts of compression plugs. Some actually do their job well and support the crush loads from the stem clamp. Others hardly do anything. So so when I rebuilt the bike, I put a better compression plug in to distribute the loads through the steerer in a more uniform way.
How is this, between the first Carbon video, which has had nearly 80,000 views, and the Carbon Wheels videos, how has it affected your business with these on YouTube?
Yeah, it's been really interesting in that you know, I've been getting emails from all over the world and inquiries, and you know, people want to do this, people want to do that. You know, you can see how busy I am. There's bikes everywhere. It's just yeah, it's been going.
So it's been a good thing.
Yeah, it's been really good. Yeah, you know, you know, I think it's a good growth. Been a good growth of my business. Now I've just got to figure out how I can do it all, and you know, to turn around bikes in a timely manner. So,
all right, I'm out of here. I'm going to take this bike home. I'm going to get on the trainer and see if it breaks in half after Raoul's handiwork. Thank you again. You're a legend.
Yeah, no,
You're a legend,
pleasure.
And really thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, it's been good. So what you should do now, it's a nice day, get out
on the bike.
Get out, go for a ride. Wish I could do the same. I've got some more bikes to fix.
All right, legends. So I spoke too soon. Apparently the crazy lady is back. She was down the train station this morning eating a mandarin and throwing it at people, and then she was also punching people. So I'm going to go down and pick Annie up from the train station and make sure she's okay. It's a health food store.
Yeah, they do take home meals.
Do they?
I don't know what they've got, but we'll have a look.
All right.
Onions, lentil. See you guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. See ya. So I've got out on the bike. I'm heading over to Footscray. I've got to drop some stuff off, some surgical stuff off at the hospital. That was an absolutely awesome ride. Really enjoyed that. An hour and a half, but had a busy day at work today, so it was good to go for a pedal and just roll it out, you know. But this was a snippet of my day.
attention, you were always broke. When I'd ask where you were, you curl up and choke. I can't believe I gave you these last few years.
Today, and I opened the door at just the wrong minute where she had gone and just absolutely ripped. She probably thought, oh, I'm by myself, ready to go. And here I come, and I opened the door, and it was like someone had released a balloon. It was like, it was horrifying, and I've gone and shut the door and left.
Did you?
At least she knows, like, at least I didn't stick around to see it, because that would have been more horrifying.